Ooh, the All Hands Rocket Retreat Event 2022 is about to start. So today I'm going to share with you guys some tips on which Pokemon, Shadow Pokemon to be exact, that you guys should look out for, and also how to defeat the grunts and the leaders very quickly. Alright, so hi to all of you guys. So let me go ahead and bring my screen up and let's go ahead to check out a website, and that is none other than League Duck. And under League Duck's events page though, it shows that All Hands Rocket Retreat, it starts, tomorrow actually on the 3rd of April, but there's no information about it. However, according to Pokeminers, there's actually some new Pokemon such as this. So there's some brand new Shadow Pokemon, including a legendary Pokemon like Latias. Latias is coming, so I guess that'll be great also, since we will be getting a new Shadow legendary Pokemon. But if you ask me, if it's a good Shadow to get, not that I know of, so I don't think so, man. Anyway, there will be Shadow Sudowoodo, Shadow Girafarig, Shadow Namo, Shadow Camerupt, Shadow Shinx, Luxio, and Luxray. So maybe that's why we had commented today for Shinx, so that we can get the Shadow form finally, right? I don't know, man. Anyway, out of all these Pokemon, I don't think any of them are worth looking at. So nothing to be excited about for this new Shadow Pokemon. But there might be newer Shadow Pokemon. These may not be the ones that are going to be released. There could be newer ones also, because there were some that has been already in the game data, such as Shadow Torchic, which could come out, so that'll be great if it's released also. So anyway, we're gonna check out the lineup, the current lineup that the Shadow Pokemon has. It might change tomorrow. If it does, I will update you guys again. But right now, these are all the lineups according to sylphroad.com. Thank you very much, Sylphroad, for all the information also. So I'll be looking at all the typings, but there are some typing that are not available, such as steel typing. But let's go ahead to check out the first typing, and that's electric. So under the electric grunt, it will say, get ready to be shocked. Alright, and you can actually get a Voltorb or an Electrode as your reward. If you guys look at the Pokeball icon on the bottom right of that Pokemon on the website, you can see that there's a Pokeball icon over there. That's when you know that this Pokemon has a potential to be a reward after you defeat the Team Rocket Grunt. Alright, so normally I will use Excadrill to fight against it, and I will use Mud Slap. Any Pokemon with Mud Slap like Rhyperior, etc. is a very, very good option. Of course, you can use other ground type Pokemon such as Garchomp and even a Groudon also. Almost combine both Groudon and Garchomp together though, but it's Groudon and Garchomp. Alright, but like I said, I'll rather use the Mud Slap both of the first two Pokemon, and just Drill running the third Pokemon. That will almost take it out already. So as for the Fire typing though, the grunt would say, do you know how hot Pokemon Fire Breath can get? I do not know, man, because I will use Water type Pokemon to take it out. You can actually use Rock type Pokemon to take it out also, but I prefer using Water type Pokemon such as Kyogre and Gyarados also. It works, so you can Waterfall it down, and eventually the last Pokemon, the Charizard that comes out, you can Hydro Pump it one time, it will take it out totally. So you can actually get a Cyndaquil or a Charmander or a Quilava as your reward. If you ask me if it's a worthy Pokemon to go after, I would say it's quite okay, especially for the Ultra League for Quilava and a Cyndaquil. Whereas for Charmander, yep, it's kind of okay, and for PvP also, for Great League and the Ultra League. Oh, forgot to talk to you guys about the Electrode and the Voltorb though. Those two are also good for Great League. So you can get them if you want to, but for rates wise, not really. So I'll mention to you guys if they are good for rates or good for PvP. Alright, so the next one is going to be the grass typing grunt, which it will say don't tangle with us, and it would give us Chikorita, Bayleaf, or Bulbasaur as the reward. Alright, so either one of those three, they are good for PvP, but Venusaur, Shadow Venusaur is actually a pretty good attacker for raids. But of course, in the future, when Shadow Roserade comes, that will actually take over the position of being the #1 spot. Alright, so you can use fire type Pokemon. I normally would use my Shadow Entei, so I'll use Fire Fang to take down the first two Pokemon first, and then saving up the overhit for the last Pokemon, the Venusaur, to one-hit KO it. Another option that you can use is actually to use a flying type Pokemon such as Moltres with Wing Attack and Sky Attack. That works also, but I will still prefer using the Entei, Shadow Entei. Alright, so you can use Entei without the Shadow also, or even I guess a Moltres or whatever fire type, even Charizard. Alright, so next one is going to be normal, does not mean weak. So you can use fighting type Pokemon all the way. That's what I normally use. I will use a Shadow Machamp, and the rewards would get you Wishma or Loudron. Those two Pokemon ain't too useful for whatever purpose, so I won't bother too much about it. You can even not fight the grunt if you see that it's a normal typing grunt. You can just skip to the next one, since there'll be a lot more options to actually choose during the event itself. Alright. So you can use Machamp, Shadow Machamp, Conkeldurr, any fighting type Pokemon, even Lucario, etc. It gets the job done, but normally I'll use my Shadow Machamp. Just counter down the first two Pokemon and eventually just close combat the last Pokemon, which will one hit KO the exploit. As with the Shadow form, it will be able to do that. Alright, so as for the water type grunt though, there's actually a difference, like the female and the male one. So the female water type grunt actually gets us Total Down, Squirtle and Crocodile as the reward, and you can use like grass type Pokemon. I normally would use like Roserade with Razor Leaf to just Razor Leaf down the first two Pokemon. When the last Pokemon, the Blastoise, come, I'll just Leaf Storm it. Alright, another option that you can use is even like a Pokemon that has Frenzy Plant, such as Venusaur or even a Torterra, etc. It works also, but I would recommend using Razor Leaf to just Razor Leaf down the first two Pokemon and just one hit KO the last Pokemon. Save a lot of time as compared to using multiple charge moves. So the next one is going to be the poison typing, and this is a typing that if you play PvP, you really will want to get this. Coil and Ready to Strike. Alright, so Ready to Strike is kind of like a snake, like about to strike like an Ekans. Alright, so the reward you can actually get Nidoran, Zubat, Nidorina, Nidorino, and Weezing. So the reason why this is important is because Golbat, Shadow Golbat, is a very good Pokemon to use in the Go Battle, in the Great League and Ultra League. As for Nidorina, the female one, it's also good as Nidoqueen. Shadow Nidoqueen is very, very strong for the Great League and also Ultra League. So those are the two Pokemon that you can look at. As for Nidoran, the male one, it's kind of okay. As for Weezing, don't bother too much about it. Alright, so the best Pokemon that I normally will use against it is Shadow Mewtwo. If you do not have Shadow Mewtwo, you can use Mewtwo. If you do not have Mewtwo, you can already use another Pokemon that has Confusion, such as Alakazam, etc. And the reason why you want to use that is because Confusion would be able to take out like the first Pokemon very easily. Just 2 or 3 Confusions is enough to take out the first Pokemon. Eventually, you can just Confusion down the second Pokemon and just Side Strike the last Pokemon, or in fact, Future Sight the last Pokemon and take it out also. So the next one is going to be the Dark typing. Dark typing is relatively easy to counter. You can use anything that has Charm, and the best Pokemon that I would recommend is using Gardevoir. Gardevoir has the highest DPS with Charm, damage per second, so hence why I recommend using that. That's why I normally use my Shadow Gardevoir. Following up with like Togekiss, or in fact a Granbull, or anything like I said that has Charm. Even Primarina works also. So those are your options. And eventually the rewards are actually Houndour, Poochyena, Nuzleaf, Cacturne, or even Sableye. So this is actually for PvP. If you actually play PvP, Nuzleaf is a good option, and Sableye is a good option to get. Whereas for the other 3 Pokemon, not really too useful. Nuzleaf that turns into Shiftry is a very good Pokemon for the Great League and Ultra League. Sableye being the purified Sableye, not Shadow Sableye, a purified Sableye with Return, actually is very, very strong, especially in the Great League. Actually, only in the Great League. So the next one is going to be the male ground type grunt, and you will say you will be defeated into the ground. So for this, your reward will be Hippopotas or Sandshrew, and the best Pokemon to use to actually take it out, there are actually 2, or in fact 3 if you actually are needing a third option. So the first one that I normally use is actually Roserade with Razor Leaf. Eventually, once I just Razor Leaf down the first 2 Pokemon, the last Pokemon, the Hippowdon, I'll just Leaf Storm it one time and it would just be almost going to KO already. And I would also have Shadow Mamoswine on my team also, but if I do not use the Shadow Mamoswine or any Ice type Pokemon, you can even use a Galarian Darmanitan if you have that, the Ice type one with Ice Fang. Alright, so the third option is actually using Water type Pokemon such as Swampert. So Swampert with Mudshot and Hydro Cannon. Alright, I think Water Gun would be better in this situation. You can Water Gun the first 2 Pokemon, then eventually the last Pokemon you can just Hydro Cannon it. Or I mean you can just Hydro Cannon as many times, because the last Pokemon Hippowdon is actually the problematic one. What I mean by that, it has like Ice Fang, Thunder Fang, Fire Fang, and Bite, right? So if those moves, 3 of those fangs actually does resisted damage to Swampert, which is really good. The Bite actually does neutral damage to Swampert, so Swampert is your safe option if you want to use against Hippowdon. Alright, so that's what you can use. Whereas the next one, the next grind is Don't Bother, I've already won, or Get Ready to be defeated or winning is for winner. So either one of these three phrases will be this particular option, and it's the male grunt that actually gets you the non-Snorlax one. So you get either one of the starter for the Generation 2 Chikorita all the way to like Crocodile. And normally I will just use Shadow Mewtwo because if we do not know what he could start off with, it's like a 30% chance to be either one. I will normally just use a Mewtwo just as a confusion down the first two Pokemon, then just side strike the last Pokemon. If the second Pokemon is dealing too much damage on me, such as a Bayleaf with Razor Leaf, I will actually side strike the second Pokemon also. Alright, other options you can even use anything that does neutral damage to even rock type Pokemon does okay, but if you get attacked by a Chikorita with grass or water, that's going to be a bit problematic. But really I would think psychic type Pokemon or even dragon type Pokemon actually works, so you can even use Dragonite, etc. That works also. Alright, so the next typing is going to be the bug typing. Nothing to really talk about because all these Pokemon are just okay. If you play PvP, yep, you can get Weedle and even actually Shadow Drapion. Shadow Drapion and Shadow Venomoth and Shadow Beedrill, they are pretty okay for PvP. I will use Fire type Pokemon such as my Entei again with Fire Fang. So just Fire Fang the first two Pokemon, and the last Pokemon I'll just overheat it and you just one hit KO the last Pokemon, especially if it's a Forretress or Caesar, which both are double weak to fire. So the next typing is going to be the fairy typing. It will say check out my cute Pokemon. So once you see the word cute, you know it's a fairy type Pokemon, and I will just use Metagross. Metagross is actually a very good Pokemon to fight against the entire team. However, if the both Snubbull's has bite, your Metagross will be in the red, so that's very dangerous already. But I basically will normally farm down the first two Pokemon with just bullet punches alone, and the last Pokemon I'll just Meteor Mash it. You can even use poison type Pokemon, it kind of works, such as Roserade with poison jab, etc. But I will still prefer using a Metagross because it's just way stronger. So the next typing is going to be the flying typing, and the flying typing I actually use Shadow Tyranitar to fight against it. I just use Smackdown to smack down the first two Pokemon, and the last Pokemon is Stone Age 8. If it's Crobat, I'll still need to do like 1 or 2 Smackdowns. But if you do not have a Shadow Tyranitar, you can always use a Rhyperior with Smackdown. So anything with Smackdown, like I said, actually does the job really well, or rock typing Pokemon in general. Okay, Electric also works also, but you basically have to do, I think, 2 or 3 charge moves to take out everything. But the Tyranitar with just 1 charge move is faster. So anyway, as for the rewards, you actually do get a Starly, Murkrow, Zubat, etc. Zubat, like I said, is a good Pokemon for PvP. Murkrow, if you want to get, yes, it has the highest DPS for raids as a flying type attacker. However, the only legendary Pokemon that you use a flying type against it is actually Virizion, so hence it's not really an important Pokemon to go after, but I do get that. I've already powered up 3 Honchkrow to level 50, but it's not really too important, but it's optional for you to actually go after. As for Starly, forget about it. Alright, so for the fighting type grunt, it will say this buff physic isn't just for show, alright? And there are actually 2 rewards that you can get, Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. If you ask me which is better, I will say Hitmonchan is better because you can use it in PvP in the Great League, thanks to the fact that it actually has counter and power up punch and ice punch and thunder punch and even fire punch. Whereas Hitmonlee, the moves, especially the fast move, is very poor. It has rock smash, which is a very poor fighting type fast move, so forget about it. We cannot get a Shadow Machop right now, but if we do get it, awesome. That's one you actually want to get. Alright, so what you can use against it are your psychic type Pokemon such as Mewtwo, your Alakazam, etc. I normally will just use my Shadow Mewtwo, just confusion down the first 2 Pokemon and side strike the last Pokemon to just 1 hit KO it. Of course, you can even use a flying type Pokemon, that will work also. But if you want to speed things up, like I said, you want to use the highest DPS Pokemon, and it will be Shadow Mewtwo. Alright, so the next typing for the female one is going to be the ice one. You're going to be frozen in your tracks. And the rewards that you can get are Sphere, Swinub, Snover, and Cloyster. So if you ask me which are important, I would say actually all of them are pretty important, other than maybe Cloyster. So Sphere, if you play PvP, Warren in the Great League and Ultra League is just insane. Alright, you definitely want to keep that. And of course, remove away frustration. Wait till the end of the year for the December Community Day, then and evolve it to get Warren with Icicle Spear. Alright, and also Powder Snow. So that's what I would do. As for Swinub wise, you guys have already seen me use Shadow Mamoswine in a lot of my videos, especially it's the #1 Ice type attacker right now, and also the #1 Ground type attacker as for now also. Yeah. As for Snover, yep, it's good for the Great League and the Ultra League if you actually want to get yourself a Shadow Abomasnow. So that's something to go after. As for Cloyster, it's kind of okay. There's still better options such as Lapras also, but it's more tanky, or I guess. But Cloyster is not really that important. Alright, so for the next typing is the ghost typing from the male ground. It goes kiki 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 kiki. Alright, so anyway, you will have two rewards, your Mischievous or your Sable Eye. And Sable Eye, like I mentioned just now, is good for the Great League. As for Mischievous, not really that important, so forget about it. But if you actually do intend to fight it, normally what I would use to fight against it is actually to use a Tyranitar with Bite, Shadow Tyranitar with Bite, and just bite down the first two Pokemon and just crunch the last Pokemon. That will almost KO the Sable Eye, but it will one-hit KO the Bennett. Other options that you can use are also other Ghost-type Pokemon such as Giratina. Gengar is a bit glassy, so I wouldn't recommend using that. Houndour is fine. You can use Snarl to actually take down the first Pokemon. If it's a Mischievous second Pokemon, you can just Foul Play and Foul Play again the last Pokemon. Alright, so the next typing is going to be the Rock typing from the male ground. Let's rock and roll. So this is the one that you actually want to take a look at also, because Rock type Grunt gives you Larvitar, and Shadow Larvitar, Shadow Tyranitar is a very strong Pokemon. It's still not as strong as Rampardos in terms of damage per second, output with Smackdown, and also Rock Slide. However, the thing about Tyranitar is more bulky than a Rampardos, so hence you'll be able to at least do more damage, especially if you fight against a Team Go Rocket. It's safer than using Rampardos. Alright, and also the next one is Anorith and Lilip. Those are the other two rewards that you can get, but if you ask me if they're important, not so. Even for PvP, Lilip is okay in the form of Credeli. But other than that, nothing really too important to talk about to actually obtain. But what you can use to fight against them, which I normally would use, is to use my Shadow Machamp with just counters to counter the first two Pokemon down, and then just close combat the last Pokemon. Other options that you can use are basically even Water type Pokemon, or basically any other fighting type Pokemon also. So the next typing is going to be the Psychic typing, and this is a typing that you actually want to take note of also because of the current pool of the Pokemon that it has. Are you scared of Psychic that use Unseen Power? Alright, from the Psychic male grunt, you can actually get Abra, Route, or Metang as the reward. So looking at the rewards, Shadow Alakazam is not really that important. It's not really used in a lot of situations. Mewtwo is still stronger than it. As for routes though, Shadow Route, Shadow Gardevoir is actually really strong, especially it is the #1 fairy type attacker for raids if you intend to use it. Alright. The third one that you really want to look at is Shadow Metang. Shadow Metang going into Shadow Metagross, assuming you can get Meteor Mash, or if you're willing to Elite Charge TM it, it will be the #1 Steel type attacker in the entire game as of now, and probably for the near future also. So that's something that I will actually look at and actually battle whenever I see it's a Psychic type Grunt, to actually try and get more good IV Metangs. Alright. So what you can use is actually to use any Dark type Pokemon. What I would use is actually to use my Bite Shadow Tyranitar. That will actually take out the first two Pokemon with ease. Then after the last Pokemon, I'll just use Crunch. If it's an Alakazam, it will just one-hit KO with Crunch. If you do not have a Shadow Tyranitar, you can always use Tyranitar with Bite. Or even anything that's a Dark type Pokemon, such as even I guess Darkrai with Snarl, or Houndour with Snarl, Houndoom with Snarl also, that's fine. Alright, so the next one is going to be the female type typeless grunt, or normal type grunt. Alright, actually it's typeless grunt. They will say, don't bother, I've already won, get ready to be defeated. Winning is for winning. It's the same phrase as what the male type would say, but the female one actually gets us the Snorlax. Like I said, the male one gets us the other Gen 2 starter Pokemon, which is not really that exciting. So if you want to get yourself a Shadow Snorlax, you have to look for the female one. So the female one, her reward, the only reward is Shadow Snorlax. Whereas her second slot would not actually be any of the Pokemon being obtainable as the Shadow form. But in order to defeat her, it's a kind of a interesting option. Two Pokemon that I recommend if you have to actually use the fight against her are Scrafty or Obstagoon. These two Pokemon resist the fast moves from Snorlax thanks to their typing. And the second Pokemon that I'll put as the slot, if you already put Scrafty or Obstagoon as your first slot, is to put a Mewtwo with Side Strike and Psycho Cut. Alright, so you can get to Side Strike really quickly. And then the third Pokemon, normally I would use something like a Rock type Pokemon such as Shadow Tyranitar. It also works well against the last Pokemon. Alright, so those are the options, but however, Gyarados might do a bit damage to Shadow Tyranitar with Dragonite, it's a Steel Wing also, so that's something to be wary of also. But other than that, you can always use just 2 Mewtwo's also, it's also fine. 2 Mewtwo's with one like Obstagoon or Scrafty or whatever, it works also. Alright, so the next typing is going to be the Dragon typing. The Dragon typing from the female grunt gets us the reward Dratini. So Dratini evolves into Shadow Dragonite, which is a pretty strong dragon Pokemon, but of course when we compare it with like Bagon and Shadow Salamence, which we can obtain from Arlo right now, it's not as strong anymore. But for PvP wise, Shadow Dragonite is still really strong, especially in the Ultra League. So if you intend to get one, you can look for a Dragon type grunt, and that's what you're gonna get. So the last Team Rocket grunt is the male type water type grunt, and it will say these waters are treacherous. Alright, the dragon one is raw. How did that sound? Alright. Water type grunt, and usually its first two will be Magikarp, last one could be a Gyarados. So what I normally would use, in fact now it's all Magikarp. So far we have not seen Gyarados according to Sylph, but I have seen a Gyarados as the third Pokemon in recent times, so it should still be possible because they only did the test for 15 times. So I will use a Razor Leaf user. My Roserade, just Razor Leaf down all 3 Magikarps, man. That's the easiest one. I don't even need to like bother about using the charge moves at all. Just Razor Leaf down. You can use any other Razor Leaf users also, such as Totera, etc. That's my recommendation. And yes, Magikarp in the Shadow form as a Gyarados is actually really good for PvP, especially in the Master League, in the Premier Cup. It's rank 1. So you might want to get yourself a good Gyarados if you do not have one, especially in the Shadow form, but it has to have Aqua Tail, which is a Community Day move, which I guess you have to Elite Charge DM it or wait till the end of the year to evolve it during the December Community Day. Or can we actually not, or can we still get it? Maybe not, I'm not sure. Anyway, the next one we're going to talk about the leaders. For leaders, why Sierra having a Poliwag as the reward, it's not really that important other than if you want to get the shiny. As for Arlo, that is the one that you really want to go after. I've mentioned in one of my previous videos that it is the strongest dragon type Pokemon right now, and for the foreseeable probably 2 or 3 years it will be number 1, other than maybe some Shadow Dragon or Mega Dragon that will really be released in the future. Those will take over it then by maybe one slot only. Because if you want to have a team of like 3 or 6 strong dragon type Pokemon, your Shadow Salamence are your best bet. Alright, so go ahead and fight Arlo. If you don't wish to fight Sierra or in fact Cliff, yep, you don't have to. Alright, during the event you can just skip them, which is what I normally do. I only fight Arlo actually. So for Cliff, you can get a shiny Teddiursa, which nothing to talk about, so not that exciting. Decoy grunts wise, it is Shadow Bell Sprout, which is interesting for PvP if you want to get yourself a Victory Bell. As for Shadow Reticate, forget about it, it's not really that important. I don't remember getting a Shadow Reticate after battling like a couple of grunts in the last few days, so I wouldn't say that it's obtainable. Yeah. Anyway, as for Giovanni wise, now he still has Shadow Lugia as I'm making this video, but maybe tomorrow will change to Shadow Latias because it has been data mined already. So if you ask me if it's worthy to go after Shadow Latias, not really, but if you are a content creator like me and want to make videos on it, probably to get one or something. Alright, so I think that is all that I have to talk about in terms of the Rocket Retreat event that's coming out soon. Hopefully you guys have gotten a better idea on which grunts to actually go after and which one to skip. All I can say is all these Shadow Pokemon, if you guys haven't been fighting Rockets consistently to get yourself good IV Shadow Pokemon, now might be the time to start, because Shadow Pokemon, like I've always said, it is the strongest Pokemon, and those are the Pokemon that I would really recommend to go after and invest your resources such as your Stardust and your candies into them than the non-Shadow ones, because even a level 40 Shadow 0 IV would beat 100% level 50 non-Shadow Pokemon most of the time. Okay, especially if we're talking about like Shadow Metagross, etc. Yep, a 0 IV level 40 Metagross, Shadow Metagross beats a level 50 100% IV non-Shadow Metagross. Yeah, so that's cool. Okay, so hopefully you guys have gotten a thing or two out of this video. If you guys did, definitely share the information with your friends also, and of course to play the event together, to go after Rocket Grunts together, which is what I'll be doing with my friends also tomorrow. And hopefully we can get some really good IV ones, especially if we get ourselves some Arlos also along the way. We will fight them, and hopefully we get ourselves a good IV Shadow Bagon. Okay, so if that's it, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode in the next video. Alright, so goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.